I don't have the mic plugged in. I just want everyone to know that I am drinking a good cup of coffee and wearing fuzzy socks to commemorate this iconic interview.
Coffee and socks are not a luxury.
All right, give me a luxury. What luxury should I have?
Private plane.
Larry, I'm on DuckTales.
The DuckTales reboot is probably one of the funniest shows I've ever had the pleasure of watching. To call its humor quick-witted feels like a gross understatement, and that comedy is rooted in its sharp dialogue and well-considered character interactions.
I'm a failure.
Oh, that never bothered you before?
I don't love its overarching plot developments, but this series is still a solid piece of entertainment that espouses the heartwarming theme of found family. These combined elements are expertly demonstrated in countless episodes, my favorite of which being A Nightmare on Killmotor Hill.
Maybe the plane has crashed nearby. Or we're in a lucid shared dream state manifested by your magic.
I'm a sucker for fictional dream sequences. Buffy the Vampire Slayer served as my formal introduction to this concept with the season 4 finale Restless, and my love for this trope has only grown with time. These installments are often the pinnacle of characterization. Confident writers compose fascinating interludes that deconstruct their cast's well-established psyches. It's essentially the narrative equivalent of playing in a sandbox you personally built.
Whose dream is this anyway? It's just our room. It's so bored. Ah! Why, Huey? Why? Why, Huey? Why? I'm not good at imagination stuff, okay?
A Nightmare on Killmotor Hill focuses on Lena Dispel, a spunky teenager who exclusively exists in the reboot. She was first introduced in Season 1, Episode 5, The Beagle Birthday Massacre, where she befriended Webby Vanderquack, one of the show's co-protagonists and the literal personification of sunshine.
You want to blow it up, don't you?
Their friendship is the bedrock for several key story beats. Lena is the living shadow of Magica De Spell, Scrooge McDuck's most powerful enemy.
You want your freedom, you do as I order.
I'm not your puppet. You really want to hurt Scrooge? Be my guest.
I would love to, but...
I miss Carnage.
Throughout Season 1, Lena is torn between her fondness for Webby and her abusive relationship with her aunt. Magica constantly taunts her niece with the promise of freedom, but that exchange would force Lena to betray her only friend. Lena ultimately chooses Webby, but not before Magica musters up enough power to possess Lena's body and take her revenge on Scrooge. This man can't help but adopt every single child he interacts with.
Help me get my family back, and you'll have a place in it.
Aww, how sweet. Then Magica banishes Lena to the Shadow Realm and we don't see her again for another 8 episodes.
You aren't my family! You are nothing!
Lena is recorporealized in Friendship Hates Magic with the help of Violet Saberwing, another reboot-exclusive character who is simply delightful.
Ugh, nerds.
The show pulls off a successful bait-and-switch here by making you think that Violet has sinister intentions, but it turns out Lena is just ridiculously jealous of Webby's new friend.
Get away from Webby. She's mine!
DuckTales' creators have described Lena and Webby's relationship as sisterly, but my personal headcanon is that when they grow up and go to college, they realize that they've actually been in love with each other this whole time. This reading can hardly be considered subtext. It's just text.
A poem! Best friend, rebel, poet. Is there anything Lena can't do?
Ha! Gay!
A Nightmare on Killmotor Hill is the culmination of Lena's arc thus far. She and Webby are celebrating their 1-year friendiversary with Violet and the triplets. But this sleepover takes a wacky turn when Lena's magic acts up and traps everyone inside a shared dream state.
I thought a slumber party would help me stay up, not pull you into my freaky shadow problems. Again.
Everyone's dream worlds are perfect reflections of themselves. Webby longs to be the Scrooge-like hero in a sweeping adventure. Louie wants to be endlessly pampered. And Dewey pictures himself as a Troy Bolton-like character sans the Gabriella.
What's that? I think it's supposed to be my romantic interest, but I'm too threatened by that concept, so it never takes shape.
Hi, yes, 911? I've been called out by an animated duck. Lena can't enjoy any of this unfettered whimsy, though. She spends most of the dream running from a menacing apparition of her aunt. I'm not a huge fan of horror, but some of this imagery is impressively terrifying. Magica eventually isolates Lena and articulates all of her niece's worst fears.
Did you think you'd turn out different than me? I'm trying to save you. You came from me. Evil is in your whatever shadows have instead of blood.
Our nightmares are manifestations of our subconscious anxieties, and if these fears aren't properly addressed, they can bleed into our daily lives and affect how we interact with the world at large. Lena has unwittingly written a narrative that always ends with her being rejected.
Because you're a monster!
No! No! I'm not!
This episode posits several interesting questions. What defines a person's true nature? How do we escape our most damaging thoughts when they solely exist within our heads? And most importantly, what does Phooey Duck look like?
Phooey!
Lena nearly succumbs to Magica's manipulations when Webby, Lena's greatest champion, grabs her hand and pulls her out of this downward spiral.
You put so much pressure on yourself to be good, but you are good enough.
I love these baby gays. With the help of her friends, Lena definitively rejects Magica. This scene is the punctuation mark at the end of a long-running toxic relationship. Lena asserts her individualism and sees her aunt for what she truly is, a desperate and pathetic liar who no longer wields power over her, literally or metaphorically.
We're family. You need me.
The notion of family is one of the shallowest excuses to keep an abusive person in your life. Words aren't intrinsically meaningful, especially not when they're said within a manipulative context. Blood ties are not inherently more valuable than outside connections. It's a term everyone has to define for themselves, and it's more than okay to exclude harmful relatives from that group. This is Lena's most triumphant moment. In Season 1, freedom was her dark heart's deepest desire, and here, after a long and grueling nightmare, Lena finally claims it by waking up. Then Season 3 swoops in and retroactively softens the entire impact of this episode.
Will you train me to use my magic to defeat Black?
It won't be easy. There will be trials, tribulations.
Season 3 was just so disappointing on so many levels, not least of which was the way they handled Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. Their inclusion in this series amounted to little more than a few blink-and-you'll-miss-it cameos. The other Disney Afternoon shows got entire story arcs dedicated to them. Tailspin, The Goof Troop, Darkwing Duck, hell, even the frickin' Gummy Bears got a better homage.
Legend has it that the high priests of Castle Dunwyn were mentored by mystical creatures from the nearby glen. Creatures with untold powers.
Forgive my digression. I'm just so tired of watching underwhelming third seasons from my beloved animated shows.
You are a definitely real boy.
This video is brought to you by my patrons. If you'd like to support me and the channel, please consider pledging. I would deeply appreciate it. Now that I'm finally done with editing the Rewatching Ruby series, I have more time to make smaller videos like this. So you can expect the following format to become a semi-regular series on this channel while I work on longer projects. Until next time, take care.